Well, thank you everyone for joining. We have Johnny, Denise, and Mitchell Rainsford, and they will be presenting the Signalytix software that they currently have out in the market. Johnny, go ahead.
Perfect. Thanks, Tara. Hey, everybody. Just a quick introduction. Like Tara mentioned, my name is Johnny Denise. I'm the brand director here at Signalytix. On the call, we've also got Mitchell Rainsford, who's one of our technology partners, and we're just going to run you guys through our software and how it can maybe benefit you. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so before we jump into what is Signalytix, just a little bit of background on us for everybody. We started actually a couple years ago developing a sign monitoring product for illuminated signage. But in the last couple of years, we've really been focused on our software offering and bringing that to market. So we basically kicked that off this year at the ISA show, and we're excited to be able to bring that to market with our friends at TubeLight. So what is Signalytix? It's a big question, but we try to sum it up as best we can with kind of a short blurb. So for us, it's a simple, affordable, web-based dashboard software for sign manufacturers and installers that's designed to help with asset management and service ticketing and a bunch of other stuff that we'll talk about, but that's the gist of it. So a little bit about Signalytix and some of the features. Just going to run over these really quickly, and then we will actually show you guys a live demo because I think that's the best way to actually look at this stuff instead of bullet points. But the system itself, it's got a bunch of features. It is web-based, so it can be accessed from anywhere, which is great. We've got asset management tools, project management tools with a spreadsheet integration in the system. We've got a service ticketing system in here as well. So if you do service, it's perfect for that. We've also got document storage, cloud-based document storage in here. So we know a lot of smaller sign shops have issues with storing their data and doing that efficiently and affordably. So we can help with that. We've got a mapping integration in here as well for easy visualization of assets, programs, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. And we really think that the system helps promote data organization and continuity throughout sign programs, rebrands, maintenance programs, whatever that work might be. That's what we really think this helps with. The setup process is super easy. There's training built into the system. We'll show you guys the tutorials section as well, but it's pretty well fleshed out there. And then also something to be thinking about in the back of your mind, this can also serve as a customer portal or a way to give customers access to programs, rebrands, maintenance, whatever that might be. If that's something that you're lacking or something that you've been thinking of developing, this is a great way to be able to do that much more affordably. And then this little blurb over here on the right kind of helps explain where we see Signalytix sitting in the process for a manufacturer or an installer. If there are tons of existing systems out there that we see for CRM and ERP functionality, maintaining contact, quoting, accounting, all of that sort of stuff, design, manufacturing, all that is pretty well established. We see this sitting somewhere a little bit further down the chain for, like we mentioned, things like project management, install and service, and then also just that data continuity going forward. All right, so I'm going to switch over to our little live demo here real quick. All right, can everybody see? Someone let me know if you guys can see that map, Joe, just so I make sure we're all looking at the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So like I mentioned, the system itself is web-based. So you'll see I'm on a web page here. The login is literally just dashboard.signalytix.com. The great thing about that is it means that anybody can access it, anybody on a team, whether it's a project manager, someone in the shop, someone out on the job site, people can access that from anywhere and from any device. So it's easy to get to, no apps to install, none of that, which is really, really nice and great in the collaborative work environment that we see, I think, just about everybody moving to. When anybody logs into the system here, there's a couple ways to navigate things. You may notice this looks a lot prettier and hopefully a lot more user-friendly than a lot of the systems that you might be using for your shop or for maintenance or whatever that might be. One of the great ways and things that we built in here to navigate is a Google Maps plugin. So literally, if you've got a program out there or whatever that might be, wherever you have signs or work or installs, whatever it is that you do, you've got the ability to navigate that on a map if you want to, or eventually show that to a client and say, hey, look, here's all the work we've done for you, etc. So this is one great way to navigate things. It's very interactive. You can hop straight into, whatever job site you might be looking for. If you want to navigate it that way, it's a great way to do so. But we've also built a pretty robust search function here, which lets you search through sites, assets, companies, service ticket numbers, all of that sort of stuff. It's a great way to be able to find that quickly. Scrolling down a little bit. So the way that we basically design the software to work, with the sign company or the sign installer or manufacturer being the ones that primarily use the system, we set it up so that you can basically come in here and enter all of the data for whatever clients you're doing work for. So we've just got some examples in here, but whether that's a bank branch or a C-store or local retail, whoever that might be, you can just come in here and basically set them up as a customer of yours and then begin logging information in there. So we will hop into Bank of America and check that out. So when you come into a client, you'll notice that if you roll the map down, we're now basically looking at everything that our fake company here has done for Bank of America. In this case, we've got Columbus, Ohio. So we've got our map here. We can scroll around, look for sites, navigate that way, and we're only seeing that. Or we can scroll down here and see the list of all of those sites, what their names are, what their site codes are, address, contact info, when they were created in the system, how many assets we have at each site. All of that data is pretty easily accessible from here. Before I hop into one of those, I'm going to touch on some of the project management functionality that we have in here. So if you'll notice, I'm about to roll down this little project management button. And what you'll see is something that we've built into the system based on feedback that we got a little while ago. People wanted a way to, instead of having something like Smartsheet or whatever other, spreadsheet software that you use, whether it's web-based or not, people wanted a way to have that also in this system and keep it under basically one link, one tab on their browser. So what we did was we built in a web-based Excel plugin, which lets you basically drop in any spreadsheet. If you can format it on a spreadsheet, you can put it in here. And it provides a great way to be able to, one, see everything at the same time, and then two, just be able to work collaboratively. If we've got multiple project managers, or maybe there's a client that's coming in and logging into this to look at dates, things like that, it's a great way to be able to do that. So this is just one way, basically a quick way to view it. But the great thing is, because like with the software itself, the Excel plugin is web-based, we can come in here and work collaboratively as well. So I think Mitchell is also in here and he's going to actually update some of these dates while we look at this and show you that. Zoom in. These take just a second, but basically, if we've got two project managers or an install manager in here, something like that, we can all be working in here and updating things at the same time, which is great. So yeah, there we go, Mitchell. And if I type something, he can see it and vice versa. So just a great way to, if you've got spreadsheets hosted on a local computer or people are downloading and sending them back to each other for review, kind of an old way to do things, but this we feel is a much more efficient way to do that. And we just wanted to build that in. So I'll hop back over to here and roll that back up. And now we'll go and take a look at one of these sites in here. So we're now looking at what in the system we call a site page. Along the top here, we can kind of see where we are actually, which is really nice. So we're in our little fake company here. under the client for Bank of America. We know that the region is Columbus, and then we've actually got the site itself here, and that's what we're looking at. So with the site, we capture a lot of, or I should say we have the ability to capture a lot of data points if you want to. A lot of this stuff is optional, but there's more value in the system if you put the data in here. So things like the name of the site, site code, if you want the total cost in here, if you want to keep track of cost accounting, like I mentioned, the address, contact info, phone, email if needed for a local contact or a regional contact. Very helpful in the case of, future maintenance or something like that. The service company, manufacturer, install date, warranty, and date for something like LEDs or, vinyl, who knows. We've got the ability to track all of that stuff in here as well. But once all that's loaded and we have a site, we've got a couple other great features. So one of the things I mentioned previously was the cloud-based document storage. So again, just like with spreadsheets, if documents themselves are being stored locally, sent back and forth over email, all of that kind of stuff, this is a great way to be able to store all of that in the cloud and have everybody looking at or working at or keeping a log of the same things in one place. So these folders are great. We have some default folders for documents, invoices, permits, photos, all of that sort of stuff. But you can easily come in here and add any sort of custom folder if you want, whatever you want that to be. That can be added anywhere in here, and things can also be downloaded, deleted, mass download, mass delete, all the sort of stuff you're used to with like a Google Drive type functionality we have in here. So hopping back from that, another thing you'll notice is the image gallery here. So, nice completion photos are always important, even though they may not always happen. But this is a great way to store those, store all the best photos for the site, or store things like survey and install photos, which we'll show you in a second. But gallery there, and also an area to leave, for example, notes about the site, something that could be useful in this case for a bank branch, something, access code, what the hours are, so that if we have maintenance, we're not necessarily needing to look those things up or call the bank. We can just have all that information logged in here. Now scrolling down sort of second half of each of the site pages, this is where we really see the two, what we call silos of the system. So assets and services, which we'll show you in a second. But to us, an asset, it used to be strictly signage, but we felt the need to branch out and be able to have the ability to log other things other than signage. So for example, like on this site, we've got 2 letter sets, a monument, but we can also come in here and put the info for, let's say, the ATM machines or the parking lot lighting, whatever that might be. It's really simple to come in here and add any sort of asset. So let's say we did interior vinyls or something like that. And those were $500. We could come in here and add those as an interior package, and then those will be added to the site and kept a log of as well. So a great way to, keep track of things that would be a line item on an invoice or a sales order, be able to come in and log all of that. Give that 1 second to load. And there we go. Now we've got our vinyls. And if we wanted to, we could come in here and add things specifically related to those. So let's say maybe the PDFs of the design documents, some install photos of those specifically. Those can all be logged in here. And then we can also log services straight to that asset if we want to. I'm going to hop backwards real quick, and we're going to click into this monument right here. So this is sort of what this page looks pretty similar to the site page, but this is just the asset page. So we're looking just now at one of the completed signs on the site. So you see we've got a design document in there. We've got the install photo, which you see here. If we wanted to leave a note, we could. But what I want to show you guys now is the sort of the other silo of the system, which is the service ticketing. So if you notice, I'll hop back to the site real quick. If you see here, what we've basically got the ability to do is anything that's an asset, whether it's a sign or parking lot lighting, vinyls, whatever that might be, basically that part of the invoice we've always been able to capture, but we added the ability to capture all of, let's say, the other line items that you might be billing for a project, from survey, permit, install, things like that. We've now got the ability to add those. So we're going to come in here and run through just a demo of, let's say we need maintenance on the monument. Let's say someone hit it with a car, which is my favorite example to use. So we can come in and create a new service. And now you see, for example, survey, permit, install, all of those were basically site-wide. So we didn't link a specific asset to them. You can if you want to. But for this example, I've linked the monument because that's the only thing that needs maintenance right now, because unfortunately someone hit it with a car. And then with that, you've got the ability to come in here and, for example, update the status of it. So let's say it's gone to in progress. Mitchell is out in the field. I'm going to assign it to him. And then, let's say this service is going to cost $2,500, something like that. We can come in and update that, and you'll see that that's gone to in progress. If we looked back at the map, you would see that go from basically red, which is a new ticket, needs attention, to in progress is now a yellow ticket, which means someone's working on it. And you can see that on the map as well. If we hop into the actual service itself, we've got information about the service company, the contact, who the technician is, when that was created. We can also see the timeline here, so we know that it's in progress, it's pending. If there were a maintenance history, we'd be able to see that as well. Like, let's say this has been hit 3 times for some reason. Drunk drivers in Ohio, let's say. We'd be able to see that maintenance history as well. And then we can also come down here and see, for example, my notes. Let's say I'm the project manager who got the call about this. You'd be able to see my notes. If Mitchell was out in the field and went in to update this, you'd be able to see his notes as well, and photos, all that kind of stuff. And you can also add specific document folders for, related specifically to a service. So it can get pretty granular if you want it to, or it can be more general. It's really just up to the user. So if we needed the driver's insurance info or something for this sort of maintenance, we could come in here, add that, and upload that as well. Let's jump back to the main dashboard. Mitchell, I'll tap you in real quick. Is there anything anything else you want me to look at or think we should run over?
I think you've covered most of the major points in that section. I know that another thing that we could talk about, and everyone is interested in, is probably going to be the next slide on your PowerPoint, is going to be the pricing for everything. But I do want to go ahead and mention that everything's stored in the system. It's all your data. It's easy to get uploaded. It's easy to get downloaded. It's very visible, and this just format makes it very, very easy to see. Our system is built on usability and making it easy for you.
Yep, that's absolutely right. And one thing I'll mention before we hop back over to the PowerPoint and talk about pricing, for all the Tube Light people on the call, we've got this handy little Tube Light store button here, which just reminds everybody that, hey, we can jump straight to my Tube Light account. And, let's say we've got maintenance on that Bank of America sign. Some of the LEDs are out. That information's been logged in Signalytix. Hey, I might need to order those for this service. Let me just hop straight into here and order through the portal if we need to. So that's another thing we've built in recently. I will hop back over here to the slideshow and swap that around, and we can talk about pricing. So we keep the pricing for Signalytix very simple, like we mentioned, affordable. The first user is $20 a month. That's it. And then any additional users are $10 a month. So pretty simple pricing structure, pretty standard for what we see with software services these days. I think just about everybody is used to it. Along with that, we do offer free 30-day trials for all new signups. No commitment, cancel anytime. Pretty standard stuff there. And then once those trials end, it's just a recurring monthly credit card charge, just like Netflix, just like QuickBooks, just like everything else. I do get a lot of questions on not so much the sign up process, because that's pretty easy, but the setup process. I think people are used to a new software having a pretty arduous setup and, what sort of intake form do we need? What info do we need to get started? We don't have any of that here. It's super simple. Basically, they sign up, they get a login. There's a tutorial section that runs a new user through basically how to do everything we just showed you and how to get to that point in the system where they're logging things, creating services, uploading photos, whatever that might be. We've got a tutorial for how to do everything in here. So there's nothing to really set up or, and there's no setup fee, I should mention as well. So I've heard of some pretty steep setup fees for some other softwares out there. So there's none of that. It truly is no commitment, cancel anytime. It's just month by month. So keep it pretty simple there. All right. And that brings us to the Q&A section. I'll also leave the QR code up there that takes you straight to our website. If anybody's interested in more information right now or wants to sign up, that'll take you straight there. But again, signalytix.com/sign up. Pretty self-explanatory, but if anybody's got any questions, we'd love to take those.
No questions just yet, but let's wait a moment and see.
Okay, no worries.
Is the system mobile friendly?
Yes, so we designed it from the ground up to be mobile friendly. So the dashboard itself that we showed you guys works great on desktop, obviously, also works great on a tablet. We're coming out with a truly, let's say, cell phone mobile friendly version of that in the future. It takes a little bit of work to get all that data into something that's pretty easy to look at on your phone. But the Technicians app, which I haven't mentioned yet, for example, when we created the ticket and I assigned that ticket to Mitchell, that basically gets shot to his phone and he can pull that up on his phone. He's got a separate ticketing dashboard that only shows him the information that he needs to basically finish that service. And that is all mobile based. Again, like the system itself, nothing to download, no password to sign in with, just the phone number. So, yep, that's mobile friendly.
Okay. Another question, is my data private?
Yes, Mitchell, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can definitely help out with that one. Yes, all the data is private. Everything is stored, like we said, securely in the cloud, backed up, and with no way to access it unless you give a user access to your system. We mentioned the ability to make it a portal. You can give it on a per company basis the ability to see that company's specific data. But if you don't give them access, then they cannot have access to it. So nothing to worry about there. No one else is able to see your data within the system.
Okay. And one more question, is there a data storage limit?
Mitchell, I'll let you grab that one as well.
Okay, yeah, there is a data storage limit, and I'm going to be very surprised if anyone ever hits it. It's 1 terabyte. So you're talking a ton of information at that point. And that's not really a true limit, but just something where we would have to look at extra charges and billing if you ever did hit that. So there's really no limit, but there is a point to where we would have to look at extra data charges on top of the usual fees that we charge on a monthly basis.
Okay. That was the last question. If nobody else has any other questions, thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Mitchell. As you see there, they have their QR code. You can also email us at marketing@tubelight.com if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And we thank you all for joining us.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.